Program Uganda Jetwagala, the Uganda we want. My name is Mulanzi Robert, and this is our first University Guild President's Dialogue on the Uganda we want. In this program, of course, we host people who share out their views on the kind of Uganda that they envision, the kind of Uganda that they want to see, and they also provide solutions on how we can deal with some of the issues that are facing our country, especially challenges. How can we deal with such challenges so that we can achieve the kind of Uganda that everyone envisions? And today, if you're following us on Impact FM 98.4 Kampala, 101.5 Impact FM Masaka, 92.9 Impact FM Busoga, 107.6 Impact FM Jinja, and 103.7 Impact FM Mbale, and on www.imc.ug, and on our app, Victory Uganda app. Thank you for following us, and I am joined by two guild presidents. One, His Excellency Maseluka Robert from Guild President of Makerere University, and Wafula Edwin Koholo. I must say His Excellency Wafula Edwin Koholo, Guild President Kyambogo University, and Madam Speaker, the Sixth Guild Speaker from Victoria University, Miss Nadong Mary. I should say Right Honorable, Nadong Mary. Of course, the two guild presidents are from, well, are they from? Well, they will tell me. But what I know is they are National Unity Platform members. Okay, so they're NUP or NUP members, and of course Nadong Mary Blessing. She's NRM, whether leaning or not, she will clarify that if she's not NRM leaning, because today I think it has become common whereby some NRM people say we are NRM leaning. So today they are going to share with us the kind of Uganda that they envision. And let me give them time to introduce themselves to us, because we want to know them. Should we go by ladies first, or we can break that rule today, if that's the Uganda you want?
It has always been
ladies first. Okay.
Yes.
Well, His Excellency Wafula has, seconded to my request. Yes, let's begin with Right to Honorable Nadong Mary Blessing, the Sixth Guild Speaker of Victoria University, to introduce herself to us and also to tell us who is Mary Nadong Blessing.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Moderator, Mr. Mulanzi. It's an honor to be here, and I don't take it for granted. I want to thank my colleagues, my comrades, His Excellency from Kyambogo and His Excellency from Makerere University for making it here, and I'm delighted. Hello, Uganda. Hello, my fellow youth, especially those in universities. My name is Nadongo Mary Blessing, and I am the Sixth Guild Speaker, Victoria University, Kampala. I am a contagious youth. I stand for validity, vocality in everything that I do. Mm. And on this show today, as we are going to share about the Uganda that we want, I want to let everyone know that I am highly patriotic. And it's for that reason that I lean to NRM, which is the ruling party currently in our nation. I lean to NRM because they have done way too much for this nation. Obviously, some may differ and say no. And they have the right to do that constitutionally.
Okay.
They have a freedom to speech. That is Article 29 of the Constitution of Uganda. And so everyone has a right to their opinion. But personally, as Mary, I believe that they have contributed to the peace of this nation, to the development of this nation, to the well-being of our people. We will not deny that some challenges have been there and some mishaps, some things have not gone well, which is expected in any system. Any human is to err. But as Ugandans, we can come together and find solution as a whole.
Okay.
And
Okay. Which part of Uganda are you coming from? Because Uganda is big.
Well, I come from the east. I am a Samya from Namaingo district.
Okay.
Abasamya Mulio Muche and I'm a Muliali. Yes, from Namaingo.
Well,
and my mother is a Musoga.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Kodei.
That is where I hail from. But definitely, I'm Ugandan and I love all.
Where did you go for your nursery, primary, before you reached to Victoria University? You must have gone through some schools, and I'm interested in knowing if they are still existing, like you've been praising any other and want to see if those schools are still there.
Well, thank you so much. Nursery school, I went to, I don't even know if it still exists, but it was in Uganda. I went to a couple of nursery schools. My mother was a working mom, single mother.
Okay.
So she started taking us to school way early. I think maybe I was even trying to, I just pictured I was in class. Can't even tell the schools. But thereafter, I went to Dabani Girls, St. Teresa Dabani Girls in Busia.
Okay.
Being a Samya, I needed a foundation for my, So I went to Dabani Girls for my primary education. Thereafter, I joined St. Joseph's Girls in Zambia, here at Kampala. And A-level, I joined Navisonsa Girls School. So, and after that, I had an attempt I first joined Chambogo University, but because of some mishaps.
Where is the guild president?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't last long, and then COVID came up, and then later I joined Victoria University.
Oh.
I preferred joining Victoria University. I think during COVID, I had to reconsider.
Okay.
I looked at the system that Victoria University has, and I'm like, oh.
Which course are you pursuing at Victoria University?
I am pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree in Public Health.
Okay.
I've just finished my second year. So on Monday, I'll start my third year, which is also the final year of my study.
Good. Well, His Excellency Maseruka Robert, Guild President of Makerere University, he's with us. Could you please greet our viewers and our listeners? Of course, this is your third time in this show.
Sure.
You're welcome.
To all viewers and listeners, thank you for tuning in at Dream TV. We hope we have the best conversation of the Uganda we want. And at the end of the day, be welcoming on the issues that may not be really comfortable with our minds, because here we come to change. And we hope you enjoy the show.
Okay, good. What's that on your head?
This is a red bellet, a representation of the National Unity Platform.
Oh.
Yes. So these are not designs. You see, Article 29 of the Constitution gives us the freedom of speech, the freedom of association. So we expect every Ugandan to be associating, including belonging to any political party. Just like she has said she belongs to NRM, so do I belong to the National Unity Platform. Yes.
Good. Thank you.
So maybe abatulaba mwenna mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala eno Dream TV tuzze kulaba Uganda ki gye twetaaga, Uganda gye twagala. Mbebaza nnyo kubanga mutuwuliriza, nno mubuuziza gy'aviira, nange nina gye nviira.
Era bw'oyogedde ne tutegeera gy'ova.
Nviira Mukono South. Era ab'e Mukono South abakulu bali ku TV, bali na Kisunga, Kisoga, Mpumu, bali mu kwetegereza. Tuzze kuba representinga, tuzze okubalaga ebirowoozo byabwe ku Uganda gye baagala, era kye kituleese wano. Nsuubira bwe naaviira wano ng'omaze okulaba gye nva. Omanyi gye tukulira eno watutraininga nnyo. Tijje nve Mukono South, abantu abo balina Uganda gye baagala okukola ki? Okulaba bye birowoozo bye ndeese wano. era mbatumidde nnyo mwebale nnyo mwebale ddala temuvaako eno Dream TV.
Nyina bwe nakulabye nabo essomero bajje wasomera babadde bazze kola ki Makerere essomero ki eryo?
Essomero bayita Wellstar Bright Secondary School. Gye nasomera secondary. Bali proud nnyo kubanga essaawa zino be bafuga Makerere. Era bwe batuuka nejjako ebyambalo byange byonna ne manya eno kibi nnyo okwerabira gye wava. So nze seerabira gye nava era olwatuuse ne mbatambuza ne mbalambuza wa gye ndi.
Okay.
Yes sir.
Nsanyukidde ddala okubeeramu naawe.
Kale sir.
His Excellency Wafula Edwin Koholo, Group President Kyambogo University, he's with us. Could you please greet our viewers and our listeners on Impact FM?
Well, thank you so much to our dear viewers. I greet you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. And when I greet like that, that literally means I'm a Christian. That's why I'm greeting like that. My name is Wafula Edwin Kohol, and I am a student at Kyambogo University. I'm in my 4th year, doing a bachelor's degree in environmental engineering and management. I also happen to be the Guild President of Kyambogo University, actually the 19th Students Guild President of Kyambogo University. It is a pleasure attending this or being part of this show that probably can give us an opportunity to air out what we have and what we would wish to see happen in Uganda. Of course, when you say, if the discussion is on the Uganda we want, it means that there is a Uganda that is already existing. But by the time we say the Uganda we want, it means the one we have is not what we want. If at all what we had was a good Uganda, then we would not be here. We would be comfortable. But because it is not good, that's why we can discuss the Uganda we want. I was so surprised when you asked my colleague what he's putting on. If there is any Ugandan who can still ask such a question after seeing the beret that we have, then you're not serious. Because if at all you want to see a better Uganda, then you should know that that better Uganda is represented by this. And I will not say that
if I don't put it on, does that mean that I'm not a Ugandan?
Even if you don't put it on, but you should be having knowledge about the beret. You should be knowing the beret.
You should be knowing when I have been taught, right?
When you've been taught. And
yes.
I think enough has happened that everyone must learn from that. Enough has happened and everyone must learn from that. That Ugandans, of course, would want to see a better Uganda. And a better Uganda will only be gotten once we get change. And when we talk about change, we don't mean just changing from maybe Museveni to Muhoozi. No, we want real change, as in real change from Museveni to Bobi Wine, because we believe we can take this country forward. Well, when you were talking, you were asking whether we come from NUP. I don't come from NUP. I belong to NUP. You know, coming from NUP and belonging to it, those are two different statements, and they mean different things. So personally, I belong to NUP and I'm very comfortable there. If there is anyone in NRM who thinks can come, no, don't come. I'm very comfortable in NUP because I know this is the only association or party that can take this country forward, and very soon we shall be taking power.
Okay.
You asked colleagues where they studied from. I also went to school, by the way. I went to school, by the way. My primary, I started
from primary? You didn't go to nursery or kindergarten?
I went there. I went there.
Okay, where did you?
I'm a Samia. I also happen to come from Namaingo district. I don't know why we still have NRM people in Namaingo district. I don't know why. I'm actually wondering.
It is because you're in Kyambogo, you're not there. You should go back and find out.
No, it is because she left Kyambogo and went to Victoria University. But if she had remained at Kyambogo, we would not be having NRM in Namaingo. So I do come from Namaingo district, and my nursery, I went to Tadent. It is Tadent is nursery and primary school. After that, I happened to go to primary one, of course. After nursery, you go to primary one. So I happened to go to a UPE school. That was Gengulho Primary.
So this government has done some work in you.
Actually, I'm going to tell you that it has done a lot of nothing after telling you how I've been studying. I went to Gengulho Primary School.
A UPE school.
A UPE school. It didn't make me
sponsored by the government of Uganda,
didn't make me,
by the ruling party.
It is not sponsored by the government of Uganda, but it is surviving on the taxes that our parents pay. I went there for my primary one. I think I didn't complete from there primary one. I also happened to go to Mutumba Primary School. Things were not good because it is a UPE school. I also, again, had to leave Mutumba, came back to Gengulho, things became worse. I went to Dwangosha Primary School. All those were, they were all UPE schools. But just because I didn't find what I wanted in those schools, I had to leave them and look for a better school. And obviously, there is no better UPE school. So UPE has not been part of the schools that have made me, because I had to take off. I saw that if I continued in UPE, I would not get what I wanted. So I ideally left, meaning the government is doing a lot of nothing. If it was doing something, it would at least maintain us there. So I had to leave when I was in P4, and P5 I went to Sayun. Sayun Junior, I think Junior Academy, it is there in Mayuge. It is a private school. And actually my education started from there. It did not happen in the UPE schools. I was wasting time. Because when I was in those UPE schools, I would not speak English. And the teachers I think, were actually demotivated by the government. So they would not even come to teach. That is how dangerous this government is. So I left the UPE schools. I went to private. And actually, the Talent is a private school. When I was there in nursery, I was a better person than when I was in primary 1, primary 2, primary 3, and primary 4 in UPE schools. So literally, I started from Talent, and the next studying or the next education that happened at Sayun Junior Academy. Sayun Junior Academy, because now that was a private school. It knew the value of education. So from Sayun, I think I was there in 2009 for only one term. That was term 1, and term 2 I went to Simpson Junior Academy. It was in Jinja, along Kamil Road in Buwenge. So that is where I studied from, and I happened also to perform well and joined secondary. So secondary, I happened to come to Entebbe, and the school was called, actually is called, because it is still there. It is Kennedy Secondary School, and I'm a very
that school.
And I'm a very proud product of Kennedy Secondary School. It has made me, that I must say. I was there for O and A level. And if you go there and you mention the name Wafuda, you'll become their friend. If you go
I'm already there. I'm already the friend of to the HM.
So you need to mention.
I don't need to mention you.
You will become a better. You will be a better friend when you mention the name Wafuda. So,
okay. It's good to have you, His Excellency. Now you're at Chambogo University as the 19th Guild President. You're pursuing a bachelor in
environmental engineering
and management.
Yes.
Good to have you on the show. Well, as we said, ladies first, let's go into our main menu today. This is the first University Guild Presidents dialogue on the Uganda we want. So I want to hear from the two guild presidents that we have today and our right honorable guild speaker, Nadong Mary Blessings. And of course, as they told me that ladies should be first, we amended that code or penal code or constitution. Ladies first. So we want to hear from you, Mary, from Victoria University. You're the 6th guild speaker, right? We want to hear from you. Which kind of Uganda do you want? Do you envision? And how can we achieve it?
All right.
You have 10 minutes.
All right. Thank you. And I didn't have a chance to speak in Uganda so that other people listening in and watching can follow us. I can speak some Luganda. Yes, leero tugenda kwogera ku Uganda, eggwanga lye twetaaga. Nange ng'omuntu linandyagadde. I hope it could be in line with also what you want, our viewer, this evening. And to start with, I thank my colleague for not changing what do we call it? Is it, are we dealing with that? I don't know. I don't know how to put it, for lack of a better word. I will say for not changing the statement that ladies come first. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not all the time that when we need change, everything must be trashed and all. There are some systems that can remain and still make good impact on our society. And this evening, an example of ladies first, where His Excellency said, that has always been that. Let us leave it as that. We are living in a Uganda of 78% of our population as youths, that is 30 years and below. That is the population of Uganda. It is highly a young population. Uganda has the highest number of young people, the youth, in the world. And now, if we are looking at the Uganda we want, everything we speak must be to the advantage of this population, which is the highest in our nation. And also, enacting the Uganda that we want will also be done by this very population. So we cannot speak of the Uganda we want minus talking about the youth that we have in Uganda. The agenda to have a better Uganda must be pushed by the youth of Uganda, must be enacted by the youth of Uganda. And I thank you, Dream TV, for inviting us as the university leaders. We are the right people to deliberate on such matters as this. And with this high population, we cannot continue to talk about a Uganda that still looks like the pre-colonial and colonial Uganda. Now we're in neo-colonialism, and still there are a lot of things that are still happening, ladies and gentlemen, that still look like we are still being colonized by the people that came here in the 1400s to search more about our land and see how better they can divide and benefit from us, the imperialists of this world. We have Vision 2040 as a nation. This vision looks at transforming Uganda from a peasant country to a peasant country that has been a low and middle income. It has been considered among the low and middle income countries.
Yeah, is that the same vision where the chairman of NRM came up and said he doesn't want to be dragged into the visions of 2040 because he was addressing Parliament and he said that?
Yes,
is that the vision that you're talking about?
Yes, Vision 2040.
Wow.
And so, but right now, since it's documented, it's still what we have. And they are the ruling government. So whether or not one agrees and disagrees and doesn't want to be dragged, it remains a fact that there is a Vision 2040 that we need to talk about. So as I open my discussion, I want to enlighten something small about it, what I think about it, because Vision 2040, transforming Uganda from a low and middle income country to a middle income country, requires someone to do that. And who is going to do that? This vision was set to guide us. I think some people are disagreeing on the president, maybe because he has his ambition is bigger than that. Because they've come up with Vision now 2050, where they want by 2050, Uganda should be a first-class country, which we also, but there is a step. Let's first see if Vision 2040 can be achieved. So Vision 2040, to transform our country from a low and middle income country to a middle income country state, takes some group of people, individuals, that can come up and adopt a system that is developmental. So the Uganda I want to see is a Uganda that is driven, where the youth have been so disenfranchised in Uganda. They cannot speak up. The spaces we have on platforms to really air out the views that can better this nation are not so much. And actually, kudos to Dream TV again for inviting us here. The youth have so much knowledge on how we can make our country better. And by this, I'm not saying because I'm not speaking for NRM only. I'm not speaking for any party. Every youth must be concerned. Because if you're at an age of productivity that can contribute to the GDP of this country, but you don't have a platform to contribute, not by airing out your view, not by practically doing something for your country, then this is a question for all of us to really answer. Where are we going as a nation? Being the biggest population, the youth, we are the majority. So if there is a change, or if we are to have a better Uganda, like we have said, it starts with us. So what are we going to do? The ruling party has one of its principles as socioeconomic transformation. I'll pose a question and ask, as a youth out there, we lament so much about things that are happening. Yes, the Uganda we have now is not comfortable for anyone. People are complaining, and it's okay. There are some mishaps here and there. But now as a youth, what are you doing? We are in universities, we are studying, but we have nothing. You don't have anything to show. Something that can earn you an income. Now the question is it the government that should give you this? Or as an individual, you can come up with something? And the environment we have in our country, can it enable you anyway? Be productive. So for me, I want to see a Uganda where the youth, who are the majority, have a socioeconomically transformative mindset. Because even the Bible says that money answers all. No one will listen to a poor youth. But also your wealth is not going to be... I wouldn't want to encourage any youth to base on the government to determine their wealth. Personally, as Mary Blessing, I'll not wake up one day and say, until the government gives me some startup capital. Now people are looking at the PDM. We've just read the budget that has been passed. And people are looking at the money that has gone to the parish development model. And we have had a lot of youth complaining about it. They do not get the money. They do not... But you look at this money, and it's not something really. Actually, our entire budget, if I ask someone, if I post and ask, if you look at what Elon Musk has, his net worth, and Uganda, who would you prefer? Who contributes more to this world? The richest man in the world or our country? I think it's about time Ugandans we stopped scrambling for these little. It's high time we agreed that we are all in a crisis and it's affecting all of us. And we need to join effort to make our nation better. Because at the end of the day, as a nation, we are still way worse than the richest guy of this country or the richest 10 people of this country. You get it? Can't we really sit down and think about it? As youths, years from now, it starts with us, but we may not be the ones to enjoy the fruits. Maybe our children, the children of this generation. How are we going to raise them into a generation that is socioeconomically transformative? Because the nations that are considered first-class nations are that because of their socioeconomic growth. They woke up one day and agreed as a nation. The US was once colonized too. When it gained its independence, they put together their people, they built their farms, they used all they had to ensure that their economy grows.
Okay.
And when it grew, they started expanding. Sectors started growing. And they also started expanding. Now they can influence nations. Now, if as a generation, we cannot sit and have conversation on having really this national vision that is not basically about the material dialects. Because as a nation, we could agree and say, yes, we are bettering agriculture, infrastructure, and you can construct roads, but you can see the potholes in the city. Some of these material dialects can be destroyed anytime. But what is that value, that vision, that thing that as a Ugandan we all identify with?
Okay.
Yes.
I'll get back to you. Thank you so much. A question is right there. How can the youth become a transformational or changing agent into the Uganda that we want? Well, we'll come back. I will come back to you. His Excellency Maseruka Robert. Right now, let all my cameras turn to you. I want to hear from you. I don't know if you're going to take her route of talking about the youth rising up and coming up to really be part of this journey into the Uganda we want. The microphone is yours.
You see, the moderator, you are doing to us a disservice. Some statements are going unchecked. But I request
that you came with your notebook.
That you allow us, probably you give us time. We have a check because some statements cannot go unquestioned. With the question of the Uganda we want, Neria batulaba mwenna. You see, we have all for the past time, and I would love to applaud the government for the work that has been done. For us, when we are studying journalism, they tell us that journalists have got more freedom in the time of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. However, I want to say that the Uganda that we are interested in, if we recognize that the population of Uganda is 78% youths, meaning all guns or all ears should actually be put to what the youths are interested in. If the youths are making a statement, it should be a call to the government of Uganda to put an ear, because, I mean, we are 78% of the population. Not leaving out those that are old. But we believe at the same time, you see, a statement was made that if you want to build this nation, train the youths, and thereafter you will have laid a foundation for every state. Bw'oba oyagala eggwanga lizimbibwe nga bwe liri, oyina okukwata n'otraininga abaana emiji gy'emito egy'eggwanga okusobola okuleyinga omusingi gw'eggwanga guno we liba linaakula. The Uganda I'm interested in is where we are having education. And for that fact, bwe tubanga tuli bakuleyinga omusingi gw'eggwanga lino gubere at standard, we need the country and the government needs to invest much of its time into educating the youths. Abavubuka be tuyina balina okubanga be bakyasinze okusoma. It requires the government to actually look at the youths as the center of whichever thing it does. Nti omuvubuka ali eyo yenna ateekwa okubanga ye priority y'eggwanga lino if we are to lay a foundation for any developing state. So kati ze tunulira eggwanga nga abaana basoma, tunulira eggwanga nga education is for all, no matter their background, no matter their stand economically. Nti tulina mu Uganda tulinamu amasomero nga waliwo ag'abaavu, waliwo ag'abagagga, waliwo ag'abali medium. Nyinza obutagogera wano, naye ag'abaavu tugamanyi. Naye lwaki amasomero g'abaavu ate gateekeddwa okubeera aga UPE? You see, the UPE is a government initiative and a policy that was brought. Abaana basome. Naye lwaki ate amasomero gano aga government ge gasingamu obuki? Obwavu fenna abaavu fenna eyo gye tulaga. N'obaawo ag'abagagga eyo gye basaba laptop ng'oyingira. Foko gye baziyita zi katla obwambe babita bukatlers sebo nene obawa amasomero g'abantu abali specific ng'omwavu yena gyalina otwala abantu. I'm looking at education where government ekwata ebintu byonna bene. Recently the government loan scheme is being smashed off. Ng'omanya abaana bameka abali eyo n'essaawa zino abali mu kunoonya okugezaako okusoma ng'abaana bagezi bayita and baali basoma government esobole okubakola ki okubaweerera. Essaawa zino government ejjawo loan scheme gwe tomanyi ggwanga ky'olifiiriza ng'abaana abo tebasoma. Bwe tuba twogera bino nze soogera abaana b'abagaggaze ffe tulina gye tuva ffe gye tuva tukulidde ku masomero ng'osasula nusu kakaaga ate ne bakuba emigga emizibu ng'eryo essomero lyenjogerako nga n'ogeza osula akakaaga ka school fees abo be baana benjogerako. Otambula mu kkubo n'osula akakaaga ka fees omuggo ne guvuga okuva ku makya be baana benjogerako. Njogera ku baana ab'omu byalo. For example, me the place where I come from, that is Nakisonga. Amasomero ga government aga primary gali ya asatu. Area secondary nakalaba yo limu. But we need to get to a standard. Nti amasomero government weteekawo essomero ffene gye tucompeting ogenda, and I've seen only that in Makerere University. Abantu bonna baagala beera Makerere. But bwe tunuulira Makerere engeri gyefaanana ne Kyambogo engeri gyefaanana n'ama universities amalala engeri gye gafaanana otunuulira ensonga lwaki abaana bandeetazo okugenda e Makerere okusinga universities endala. It is at standard. Ate nga ne standard ya essaawa zino it is the Makerere university eyokusatu mu Africa. It is the best in East Africa and the third in Africa. University essaawa zino gye njogerako. Naye nga nayo abaana bagirwanira ya government because of the standard it has set. So me, I'm looking at where people are educated enough, because if we are transformed, but what we're going to choose a guangarino abantu bateekwa okubanga balowooza ku kika ekyenjawulo. But the reason as why we are the way we are, people are not interested in change, is because abantu bali comfortable. Manyi bw'omala okusomako obwongo buno buyengeri gye bukyuka n'omanyi.
Who has made them comfortable?
No, they are comfortable because if you don't try to notunulako mu ensendala zikola zitya, you become comfortable. Golowooza ku kyalo kyo ensi eweddeyo. What education does, it brings you varieties. Ensi eno tulina zi Canadian prairies, ensi eno Kenya ekola bwete ine enguudo bwe ziti, Tanzania yava mu kyokusatu kati eri mu kyakubiri. Then you start feeling uncomfortable with your country. I'm looking at a country where health services are for all, where we still don't choose. Njagala ensi eno nga bwetwogera ku ddwaliro erya gavumenti buli omu gy'ayagala okugenda. Munaye nga n'abakyala b'abakulu gye bazaalira.
Abakulu otegeeza baani?
Abakulembera eggwanga lino. Ekyo kipya kyoga tokiwulirangako ekyabakulu.
Ati naye manyi naawe oli mukulu.
Waliwo abakulembera eggwanga lino. Abo be twogerako. Nga mukyala we wabeera olubuto agamba mumutwale emulago. Naye bwe baba bakyali nnyonyi ne bagenda ebweru, bwe baba bakyakwata abaana baabwe ne babalinyisa ennyonyi ne bagenda ne basomera ebweru, feno ne basalako government scheme ez'abaana emitwalo n'emitwalo egyandibadde educated. That is how we know that we are nabo bali uncomfortable n'eggwanga lye bakulembera. If you are in Uganda where there is inequality, izo standards mweziri, we cannot afford okugamba nti kangeze tukola omulimu gwe gumu n'omukyalo nga nze bampa obukadde 5 afuna 3. Uganda erina kukoma kati. Nga tetuwa abantu mirimu kubeesinga ku gender, kubeesinga ku sex, kubeesinga on their background. No, but with what they can deliver. Ng'omuntu bw'aba asobola tetumujajinga nti uyu mukazi anaakola ki. Nedda. Can she deliver? Muteke mu position. And this is the problem. A Uganda where tetu separating because of ideologies. Tetu separating lwa background nti ovaawo oyo munyankole abo be buzibu bwaffe. Nti oyo avaawa mu biseera biri nga musebe tannatwala buyinza ab'engulu bali obuzibu bwaffe. Ebwemala okutwala obuyinza abawesi ne bafuuka obuzibu bwaffe. Awo tetunnatuukawo. Bafuuka buzibu bwomwe kati abiri mu West. I'm saying, of course. Bafuuka buzibu bwomwe. We want. So for Linde. Bafuuka buzibu bwomwe abiri. Sawa zinaga abasajja abo batujja. Nenga gwe Uganda gye twagala. Okimanyi waliyo abanyankola bali ababonaabona. Okimanyi waliwo abatuula abaveeyo ababonaabona. Kati gwe omusanga n'ayogera olulimi lwe ugabo abo. Soko kwatereka ngendeke wa his excellency. Maliriza ngamba bwe. Di Uganda gye twagala. Ye Uganda etali mu kusosola. Yes. Uganda esomesa abaana bonna. Education for all. Uganda etali mu separation in health status. Okay. Nosanga abaana b'okumwalo waliwo abaana b'e Katosi. Omwana w'okumwalo akeera ku mutera yambale bale ng'erimu ekituli. Taata agenda wali n'afuna ebyennyanja bye n'avuba, omwana n'agenda kusomero wali n'asoma. That is the Uganda I'm talking about. Abantu abo beetaga okusitulibwa. Taata mulekeeyo akole ebyennyanja bye because maybe that's why he feels comfortable. No yayina omwana ono gwe twetaaga okusitula enkyabeera omukulembeze w'eggwanga lino be babaana ensi eno be yeetaaga okupiikiga in interest uplifting so that they be a joy to their parents. Omuzadde bw'awulira omwana tusse ku university, that is the joy. Naye bw'otandika okuggyawo ebyandimututteyo. We have never wanted that Uganda. Well, I'll come back to you on the way forward. How can we achieve that kind of Uganda that you have tried to highlight for us? His Excellency Wafula Edwin, I want to hear from you on the kind of Uganda that you want to envision, and actually you will take us straight to the way forward from what you're going to say.
There is a statement. The Uganda we have now is not comfortable for anyone. It was said by her.
Who is her?
I'm actually wondering why an NRM person says that the Uganda we have now is not comfortable for anyone. NRM person is saying that.
Would you want her to clarify on what she meant?
She said again, no one will listen to a poor youth.
Yeah, actually I noted that down as
no
well.
No one will listen to the poor youth. Who is making the youth poor? The NRM government.
Not the youth themselves?
The NRM government. Because at the end of the day, the people think NRM is leading us. They think. Personally, I don't say so. Actually, to me,
who is leading?
To me,
who is leading this country?
You know, there are several opposition leaders that have been contesting. Personally, I know that maybe Museveni stopped being president in 2006. And 2006, Besigye was the president. 2011, Besigye still became president. Even 2015. He
ruled his second term.
So currently, actually, Besigye has ruled 3 times. 2006, 2011, and 2016. Now we are living in a country where Bobi Wine is the president. But it is formality that NRM is leading. And
based on self declaration or constitutional declaration.
But what don't you know?
That's why I'm asking.
No, what don't you know?
No, I'm asking.
Everyone knows the truth. Everyone knows the truth. But where an NRM person can say that the Uganda we have now is not comfortable for anyone, then what? So what should we say? You know, there's someone who sang a song,
clarify?
System Bodongoto. Now, if someone who is in the system is saying the Uganda we have now is not comfortable for anyone,
Yeah.
and then it means the song was true. The song was true. But now, like we said, the Uganda we want. When you say the Uganda we want, it literally means that we have one that is already existing, like I said.
That is not making all of us comfortable.
It is existing. And the reason that's why you have to say the Uganda we want, it should be by common sense. That the one we have, we are not comfortable with it, like she said. An NRM person said, we are not comfortable. So if we are not comfortable, then we want one where we shall be comfortable.
Probably she meant we are not comfortable because of you. You're making them uncomfortable.
We are making them uncomfortable. But she said 78% of the Ugandans are youth, and most of us are not comfortable.
But also,
even she's also not comfortable, by the way, because the statement was said by her that the country we are in is not comfortable for anyone here. The Uganda we have
Maybe we need
now isn't comfortable for anyone.
Okay, let me steal a minute from you. What did you mean by saying that the Uganda we are in is not comfortable for all of us?
Well, what I meant is, like he has said, very many youths are complaining about the Uganda. And I only meant to say I agree when they complain and say that they are not comfortable. Because as a youth, I've not been raised to, I don't politicize everything. And I can own any mistake. By the way, I don't regret making that statement, even if you come up and try to make a big negative deal out of it. The truth is, I agree that currently our nation is not at a level where we are comfortable. And I'm not ashamed to say that.
So what are some of the things that you can point out which can try to establish your statement that the Uganda we are in is not comfortable for all of us?
All right, I'll give an example of our capital city. Many of us think we have a capital city, but as a land youth now who has maybe ventured and seen some other places, we're having a slum of a city. Majority of us, especially campuses, you'll find that they cannot really afford decent housing in what we call a city. Every place that you think is good is surrounded by trenches, open trenches with water. You know, I'm a public health student, so we are always out there doing community diagnosis. And what I see there is not good for my country. This I say not because I do not love my party that I lean to.
Okay.
But I want to be a contribution.
But you see that your party has really failed to develop the city, right?
No, we can only say that we need joint effort to make our city better. What I can say is it has not failed, but again, it has just not given, I think, the young people a chance to get involved. Because if you have a young person like Mary, who every semester is doing community diagnosis, courtesy of my university, Victoria University, I thank the university for having a work-integrated learning system. My university is the kind that you will study and they will have to take you, whether you like it or not, you must go there and face the world. Okay. And get that. So, and as we do that, we are seeing what is happening. This is not to play the blame game. This is to say, can we come in and help?
Well, let me get back to His Excellency. Yes, so I think you've got the clarity.
Actually, thank you so much for allowing her not to clarify. There's nothing she has clarified on. She has actually opened our eyes. She says we need joint efforts to change this country. Now, if you're saying we need joint efforts, whenever we as NUP, maybe, let me say opposition parties, bring in a better alternative, and maybe it is to solve a problem, they always call us opposition. And it is us that are always caned by these people. And at this time, she's saying they need joint effort. If I told you had noticed that you needed joint efforts, you would not be abducting people. As we speak, there are people that we don't know where they are. Do they abduct NRM? They don't. If you need joint efforts, then you bring back our people. And after bringing them back, join us. Because you've had enough time and you've failed.
I have a question.
If we need joint efforts, then they need to actually bring back our people, join us, and we take them forward. So, like I said, if we say the Uganda we want, it means there is something that is lacking. Personally, I believe we need a Uganda where everyone will have an opportunity to share on the national cake. I don't mean their money that they have, but I mean the resources that we have where we can equally benefit from them. But like she said, 78% of our population are youths. This literally means that everything in this country looks at the youth. It is a small percentage that is left. Actually, only 22%. So we are the biggest percentage. But at the end of the day, are we given priority? As youth, we have a council that leads us. We have the National Youth Council. It is, though it is NRM, but it is a council for the youth in the budget that they've just presented. Don't you know that they reduced our budget as the youth?
Yes, by 80%.
By 80%. And if you have 78% of your population as youths, and you can still go ahead to reduce the budget by 80%, we mean 80%, from around 5 billion to 800 million, then which better sign of a dying government is there than the one we've seen already? The youths who make 78%, you reduce their budget, what are you trying to do at the end of the day? You're killing the country, because the truth is the future of this country entirely relies on us, the youth. Because the older people are about to go by natural factors. And we, the youths, we have a lot to do for this country. So what we need is a country where we can equally share the national cake. And the national cake we are talking about, I've said the resources. Now let's look at the education system. Like my brother said, it is one that is segregative. Because you're Wafuda, you must go to school A. Because you're so and so, you go to school B. Because you cannot afford, you go to this. But even when some of us could not afford to start from private schools, we said, okay, they brought UPE. I always hear people say, but at the end of the day, some of us who went there, we saw no future in those schools. We had to move away. Like I said, my education did not happen in those schools. The time I was in UPE, I was literally wasting time.
Yeah. So, well, if you didn't benefit from UPE, do you think we have people that have benefited from UPE in this country?
We have people that are trying to benefit from UPE.
How do you differentiate that?
Now, 2 weeks back, we have, I'm a Samia, and we have a council that joins us. That is Babasa Joint Council. When we say Babasa, that is Samia Bagwe Students Association. Now, these are students in universities. So, as the joint council, we had students of Makere, we had students of Chambogo, UCU, KIU. We went for an outreach in our home districts. We moved in Busia district and then Namayengo district. And we moved through the schools there. But if I can tell you what happens there, there is a very big difference between a UPE school, a USE school, and a private school. Most of the students in these UPE schools literally would wish to study and that's why they are there. But they don't study. I have to give you, I think now today I'm going to act as a living testimony. Most of the people, my colleagues, I think even if I said 98%, I would be cheating myself. Most of them, those that I studied with in P1, P2, in those UPE schools, the least number of children they have is, I think, 3. I don't have even a half.
But you're planning.
I don't know about that.
Say half.
Maybe half. There is a quarter. But when you have a half.
The reason as to why these colleagues of mine did not continue with education is because of the UPE schools. They literally do not teach. That is the bitter truth. If at all these schools were serious, or if at all the government was serious, then we would see people study. But at the end of the day, even when you study and get to maybe university, let me say after Form 6, most of us hail from humble backgrounds. You know, I don't always like to call anyone's background as a poor background.
You use the word humble.
Humble, yes. Most of us come from those backgrounds, and we shall not deny that the fact that we come from such backgrounds. So if at all the government found it important and came up with a loan scheme, as we speak today, are people benefiting from it? But remember, I've said we want a country where everyone equally benefits from the national cake. So if the loan scheme is a national cake, why did we have regional imbalance? The people were benefiting. And it is common sense, you know, the region that was benefiting most, it actually would benefit more than 50%, yet we have so many regions. But the challenge we have is that our country has a leadership structure that is very, what should I say, better word that I can use. A leadership that is, one, I should say corrupt, a leadership that is selfish. Sincerely speaking, if this country was normal, we would not be having a parliament having 529 members of parliament. Most of them are doing nothing there. And that is the truth. We have Tanzania, it is a bigger country, I think 5 times more than Uganda. But it has less members of parliament. I was actually surprised the other time when they were bringing in issues of having a member of parliament representing the elderly. And it is regional, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But the question is, we already have the elderly in parliament. Do you want to say that Kahindo Tafire doesn't know that he's representing the elderly? Do you want to say that Jejo Dong doesn't know that he's part of the elderly? Do you want to say that even Kadaga doesn't know that he's part of the elderly? Do you mean that these people who are already there, the elderly, who are maybe at constituency level, they will forget to represent their ideas before you can bring in an MP to represent the elderly? Okay, those that they brought, what are they doing there if they are not sleeping? So we need to change the whole system. If we continuously have such a leadership structure, then this country is going nowhere.
Okay.
My sister here talked of Vision 2040, that it is aimed at transforming Uganda. Even if you change it to Vision 2080, you're not going to change this Uganda for as long as you're the ones still there. Because you've failed already, and there is nothing you can tell us.
So the only solution is to get them out of offices?
If at all they are patriotic, like they say, they should not wait for us to get them out. They should go. And
Yet I'm as young as you are. Where do you want me to go?
because you failed to take this country forward.
That is not how.
If you know that
Is
one
that
will
really
be-
fair? Because
I'm as young as you are.
you are the same,
all
almost. Let me not
We
say
are
the
talking
same.
about youth.
Almost.
and if they are not selfish, If they are not selfish, then they should go. And we get better people to take this country forward. Actually, when we come, we shall be taking you people forward. But when you stay there, you're taking all of us backward. Even yourself, you're part of the people that are going backward.
I think there's a misunderstanding.
Okay. Well, yeah, note it down. His Excellency Maseruka, I want to get back to you at this particular moment. You raised like 3 or 4 issues. One, you were advocating for the education of the youth, good health system, and of course good education for all. And I want to ask you, how can we achieve all that? Who is responsible? Who is supposed to do what and how?
If we are to change this country, I think it starts with the people in power. The people in power have a lot of say on what happens in a country. And I think without character assassinating the government, we need to get to a standard where we have changes. For example, in the education system, if we still have issues of the education system where, number one, it is for a selected few. Just to differ maybe, we have grown up from these UPE schools. And that is where we come from. And probably by the time we reach a certain level, we get to better schools. Because let it be a fact, and on this television, that UPE schools are not the best. Government institutions, I've only seen one so far, and that is Makerere University.
Yeah, let's deal with that issue. And to all of us, let's deal with that issue.
Yes.
Why is it that UPE schools are not the best, and we see that they are, facilitated and financed?
Which facilitation?
Aren't they
Which
facilitated?
finance are you talking about? If we had the same facilitation that happens in private schools, and it happens in the government schools, then we would have now a right to comment about the facilitation. I'm talking about facilitation which teachers are not comfortable with. I'm talking about facilitation that gets students to look the way they look. And you see, we have to abana abategeera abalina obwongo bulizoning abana b'ekyalo balungi in that, and that is why we have managed to surpass even the people that started from probably better schools. Omwana tuina katika nkwe tuina abana babibikira abasasula akakadde. Inno kibebi bakyalera kirerebwe bakitwala mu kindagala ne bakijayo ku 7 nekisasula yakakadde nobawo naffe abakakaga mu P7 mukwogera ku ggwanga lyo newabawo n'abaana abanusuka kaga
oli ali mu kamera obanze
nawe kenyini oyinza n'okubeza wazambalako ez'ebitundu. Let me tell you, when we are talking about the government and the Uganda we want, we are talking about schools that are even going to offer practical education. Omwana n'omujja mu nursery, n'omutwala mu P1, n'omutwala mu P2, n'omutwala mu P3, n'omutuusa mu P7, nga tannamanya bwe baluka na mukeeka. And that is where I think UPE schools have done a great work. Instead of teachers, ekifo ky'abasomesa teaching eggwanga lino gye livudde, aleeta yawo obusansa, n'emisumaali egy'enjawulo n'abawo embaawo. But is the education that is being offered in these government institutions at the same standard with those that are being offered in the private? Now, when we have that question and we have a bridge between the two, I want to get to commenting education Uganda is offering. We have textbooks that have been in existence since the 1960s. You mean we have not transformed in Gwanga from 1960s okutuuka mu 2000s? Are you trying to tell us that we still need, of course we need history, because if we are to know where the country is heading, then we must know history. But is the education offered right now efficient enough to get us survive? Lwaki omwana yeetaaga bw'atuuka mu 6 tubugamba muganda wange ebyo by'osomye bw'otayongerako certificate gwa n'amanya
owedde.
But omwana okutuuka mu 6 edda ng'agenda n'afuuka n'omusawo ssebo n'ajjanjaba n'akuba n'empiso essaawa zino the education we are offering tulina okukkiriza nti it needs a practical bit of it. Abaana beetaaga okubanga tetukyasoma busoma bya bitabo. The education that gets us work onto something, not remembrance.
I think they have started on that. Senior 1 mpaka senior 6.
They have started on that. But see, when the education system has started onto the practical bit, tusiima ulira eggwanga tulisiimeeko mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala bakulu mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala mututedde education system etraininga abaana ebintu by'emikono. But I'm talking about the education system erese ebintu by'emikono nga tetraininze basomesa mu university. Abasomesa mu university bakyasoma ensoma yaffe eri. You have changed the education system. Mugikyusizza somesa bya mikono. Naye abasomesa bagenda osomesa bano abaana bakyasoma mu textbooks eza 1960. You reach at a school nosanga nga abasomesa bastrugglinga abaana bastrugglinga head teacher ali confused. When will this end in Uganda? You have changed the education of S1 S2. We appreciate. But the teachers that are teaching these students are not educated enough to the standard to be teachers to abana bano. And we are living in a situation where teachers and the students are confused on what to do next. Because what we do at the university is they train us enough to give us the best education, to be efficient for us to serve this country. Education, abana basoma education ikati. Tebasoma eri system. Tukyusiza system ya wansi naye eyawa gulengero training abali tetunna.
So naffe katuleme okubeera confused. Yes. How do we get out of this?
Of course we need a change in the curriculum. Not only if we change the curriculum, then let us change it even at the university level. The practicals that the teachers should be getting zina okubeera efficient enough okuja in these secondary schools to train these students.
So NRM oba government kyeyandikoze kwe kusookera ku bagenda okusomesa.
Exactly.
Bo ne babasomesa ne balyoka bakyusa ne kati akuba akagwa.
Kati kankubulire.
Okay.
Batandika education system mwezi 1. Ne bagitandika mwezi 1 ngeno tukyasoma ensoma yaffe enkadde.
Yeah.
I'm still wondering abaana bo babasoma ki? Kubanga ne textbooks bano ze balina abasomesa bajjo basomesa. Zaluli. I'm worried about the generation that we are trying to raise. The education system is good because it is not only teaching us to remember, it is teaching us to get hands-on and be practical in nature. But we have not trained the trainees to get up to standard offering education yetaaga abaana bano okusobola oku-raising up ku standard. Kubanga education is training omwana ne bwakoma mwesifo nga sente ziganye government ejjawo loan scheme, they can go out and practice, and we would thank the government for that.
Yeah.
But let it be chronological such that tuleme offering one piece and the other half right half wrong.
Okay.
It may not make sense.
Thank you so much, His Excellency Maseruka Robert. Right Honorable Speaker, how did we get here and how can we get out of this? When you talked about the youth, let the youth rise up and so on, but it seems that is what the government is doing intentionally to keep you people down and to keep you people under their footsteps. How can the youth get out of that so that we can be able to address all these issues and enjoy in the kind of Uganda that everyone envisions?
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Your Excellency, you've deliberated well. And yes, our system needs to change. I agree with you, especially the education system. Maybe because I'm at a university that is also pushing for a better system at university level. Well, back to your question, how can the youth get involved even when we feel frustrated and disenfranchised? I think that it starts with us. You know, one of the challenges I've realized is that we have gotten assimilated into the greed of the people that we are blaming. I have been disturbed so much working with a few youths that also do the exact things that they complain about. They blame the government for, in other words. Because as a youth, these people in government, okay, right now, we are a generation that did not really witness what happened back then. But one thing I'm certain, they are a generation that rose up at a certain time and chose to live sleep, chose to fight for something for a good cause. Now, because we have been raised in a generation that is a bit, our parents have been able to provide some of the needs we have. They've taken us, we've had a fairly comfortable life. You find that my fellow youths cannot live a comfortable zone. My very own fellow youths cannot sacrifice to offer service free of charge. We are all greedy and fighting for small monies, tokenism here and there. You hear of an opportunity.
Just a minute. Nga muli bazibu nnyo bavubuka mmwe. Mwagala kubasasula.
You see,
Just a minute.
You see, the person who is talking about tokens, a few days back they were in Chankwanzi. And at the end of the day, what happens in Chankwanzi?
Okay.
There is nothing much.
Token.
What happens in Chankwanzi?
They give
put
them
on those UPDF uniforms. You waste a lot of time there, and as you're leaving, you leave with the handouts. Because this we've seen happen. We've always seen NRM MPs.
Have you ever been there to confirm that they are wasting time
you
there?
Don't need to go there to confirm. We've seen members of parliament who go there, and after when they come back, they do nothing. Which other confirmation do you need? Do you need to go to Chankwanzi? Okay, that
But does that qualify Chankwanzi to be nothing?
It is nothing.
No,
she's here. She's here.
Does everyone who goes to school comes back and does what he has been taught?
The day they called me to go to Chankwanzi. Now, this is what the phone call was saying. Mr. Guild President, you know, we've had several issues in institutions of higher learning, and therefore the Minister of Education has organized the retreat for us to train us, the guild leaders, but it is happening in Chankwanzi. Now, when you went to Chankwanzi, I saw you with Kulaije. Is he in education? What were you doing with Kulaije? I didn't see the Minister of Education. If the Minister of Education needed the youth, the guild leaders, do you need to go to Chankwanzi? Is the minister in Chankwanzi? Oh, Chankwanzi is becoming everything. So, what we know is that in Chankwanzi, it is brainwashing that happens there. That is the truth.
Brainwashing positively or negatively?
Negatively, of course.
No
one can
Let's give her time to
positively.
finish her point.
I think we are channeling.
So if she's talking about tokens, then there are the people who have grown up with a mindset of tokens.
Well,
and she said, youth, she's disturbed by the youths who do what the people in the government do. Of course, the people in the government, we blame them and we complain of them. But I want to give you an example. When I was in Chambogo, actually, by then in 2020, when I was contesting as a GRC faculty of engineering, we had some activity where the Minister for Finance, the current one, came. By then, I was still an aspirant. So I had to go and see some of our leaders, national leaders. However, there is a statement he said, and up to date, I've never forgotten it and I will never forget it. He actually said that some of us, the youths, or some of us, the young leaders, with the time we shall have to take up or take on these positions, when, now this is what killed me, when they retire by death.
The Minister of Finance.
when they retire by death. Now, he said when we. Of course, now when he said we, it meant the
It's
whole
plural.
government. Because he didn't say when I retire. He said when we retire by death. So now,
There are
if-
tokens
so
in
the
the
tru-
offices.
the truth is, of course, they are there because of what is there, maybe tokens.
Okay.
Now, if the youth are hearing such a statement from a whole minister, do you expect them to have a different mindset? Yeah, and more so when they are still subscribing to the same party, they will not have a different mindset.
So
We've tried to be patient up to date. We are waiting for them to retire.
by
Waiting
Retire
for
by-
them to retire.
Now, Mr. Moderator, I think
Okay,
to start
finish up
from
your
where
thought.
he has stopped is that the youth are prioritizing things that I wouldn't call priority. Now, imagine a whole guild president sitting here and telling the nation that they are waiting for the government to leave power. I want to pose a question, because my question to answer was, what can we do as youth to get out of the state we are in? If we are not given platform, how can we better the situation? I don't want us to divert this conversation into so much politics. Yes, it's important because we are multi-party and I respect that. But let us help the person watching today to get really knowledge that will help them. What can we do as youth? Do you want a Uganda where we sit here and think about, now people are prioritizing politics, but really we would be prioritizing other things that empower us individually. As an individual, if you say that you have a contribution that is better than NRM and all that you're blaming, how many fellow youths, Your Excellency, have I witnessed you training in a practical skill that maybe you have learned yourself? How can we hold our hands up as youths? Because now it's no longer a question of which political party and who is in government and not. Good thing you have said it. Yes, if the government has said they are not leaving power, so then are you going to fight up to when? Because this generation, we are not ready to have a war because of transition of power.
How did you get there?
And that is a choice we make because of the grooming that I have heard from my own family, not even the government. I want to add on something about what we can do as youths. I encourage every parent out there, if it has not worked for this generation, us, as we are raising our children, what values shall we impart in these children? Because nurturing begins from home. And the systems of the world and any country will always begin from a unit of a family. If you grow up in a family where they tell you, mwana wange, woba okula, saagala olowooze nga nti entebe eri yegenda okuwa ekyokulya. Mwana wange okeeranga, tulina ettaka, genda olime. Wakitegeera? Uganda, we have good soils. Recently, there are Chinese that are coming for cassava from Uganda. They discovered that the starch from the Ugandan cassava, they discover the starch from the Ugandan cassava can make certain products. Very good flasks. There's some kind of flasks that they showed us they were making, but from Ugandan starch. How well are families sensitized down there? In the health system, we have, let's say, village health teams. What other system, maybe politically or in the social setting, do we have that goes down just like the VHTs in the section of health? That you reach out to the families and just empower them about how well we can raise our children patriotically. And also for them to grow up in a system that will make them better without even looking at the government and these political seats that now most of the youth have been diverted to look at. Why? Because they have not taken up spaces of involving in practical skills, things that would be actually building them economically. So for me, families need to now understand they need to nurture the generation that is coming up. If we should move from a system where a mother or father thinks that they will give their children land after they have died as inheritance. Already the system is pressing them that it has been very theoretical. They had 7 years in school of primary. with nothing practical to earn a living. They went on and joined secondary. They are in university. It would be absurd for that youth to cry about the failures of the government when the family has family land, but cannot apportion and say, I'm not giving you a title, my son, but I'm only saying, I'm petitioning, use part of this land, grow something for yourself. I know you love the city because the youth of these days want to be in the city, but there's nothing even much you can do here. You know what naye buli muzadde agamba omwana we nti naye wano ewaka as long as I'm alive nga tulina ettaka nga nkyali mulamu njagala nkulabe mwana wange ng'olina ky'otuuseeko ng'omuntu bw'oba olina by'okola mu kibuga olina obuguzi bw'eno ewaka bwe nkulundira.
The truth is, even when you're telling these people to go and dig and maybe do farming, this government is determined to destroy the youth. You're going to go and dig, and when the season reaches and you have to sell, the prices of the products. What happens is this. You say in Busoga region, sub-region, most people there had been attracted to planting sugarcane. But now these people go and plant sugarcane, and at the time of harvesting, the government decides to lower the prices. And you have to sell because you will not eat your sugar.
Mr.
So even when they run to Uganda,
so you're giving information to to Mary.
Yes. You see, we should cease speaking about Uganda as if we are talking about America, where people plant crops and then government comes and then you harvest, then you say.
So Uganda we want.
No,
Wouldn't you want that
no.
Uganda?
She is talking, the Uganda she's talking about, she's actually not talking what she wants. She's saying youths involve into planting these crops and planting. As if you're speaking from USA. Get back to reality. Get back to Uganda where you plant your coffee and then government comes and takes it up. Get to Uganda where you have your land and then someone comes from nowhere any other day and say, "Takaliang." I'm speaking about Uganda, abantu mwe losing amataka. I'm speaking about Uganda. We basimbi amakanisa enkera ogendo kera ku machange kanisa tekyaliwo. That is the Uganda I'm speaking about. Tuleme kudda ku bantu ba TV bano kubabuza ng'abaana. Can you go and dig?
Mr. President,
you see, we need to get to reality.
No, I want you to complain about the land that is grabbed and taken.
Listen,
after you have tried something.
She has made the statement.
No, until you have tried something, you cannot convince any Ugandan.
That youths
where is
in
your
the
farm?
time of
Where is
President
his farm that was
Museveni,
grabbed?
the youths in the time of President Museveni then chose not to sleep.
Mr.
I'm looking at this government, what it does to the youths that are not sleeping. We are coming up to take up these positions because we feel there is a need. And you are saying youths are now involving themselves and looking at the political seats. So, do you feel His Excellency about these positions?
Okay, His Excellency, for you as a leader,
yes,
a guilty president of Makerere University,
yes,
that has a population of close to 43,000 students.
Yes.
What have you done to the youth to show them the right way in developing themselves and also to develop themselves or transform themselves? What have you done?
Listen, my dear, I'm speaking in the capacity of guilty president, and for that fact, listen, let me repeat. I'm speaking in the capacity of guilty president and guilty president Makerere University. What have I done? I took up a platform where I think youth should be considered. I contested and they voted for me. According to her statement, listen, according to the statement she has just made, she said, youths in that time woke up and chose not to sleep. I've decided not to sleep. And took up these positions, and they made changes, which you will not reject, but through these power positions. And that is what we are doing. The statement she's just from making that is actually very hideous is making a point that youths are now looking at these political positions. This is where we see change. There is a rush to taking up these positions because we feel there is a need. And you can never stop us. You see, the government has taught us to feel comfortable about where we are.
Should every youth think that way?
No,
As
how
in
many
looking for the-
presidents
as in
does
looking for the
have? Can we have
passports?
10 in one position?
We
What
cannot-
will you do with the rest of the
My dear, we
9?
are having
What
GRCs.
will you do with the rest of
Yes.
the 9 who can't
My
be
dear,
president?
we are having GRCs. You do not know when people contest. Let me tell you, Makerere University, even if you are 10th in the race, even if you are 10th in the race, you have a say. Even if you're 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th. These are the same people that end up taking these positions. We have seen people lose in Girude elections. The Lord Mayor lost in a Girude election, and you see where he is. This is because there is that need to provide to other youths. We have
But do you think-
chosen to take up these positions?
Yeah, your leaders, and I respect all of you. But let's think about this. It seems now the youth, what she's trying to bring up to us, to our attention is abavubuka batunulidde nnyo ebifo nga bw'okoze ki nga bw'okyogedde ebyobukulembeze in which she says
bitunuulira.
anti mubitunuulire naye mu kubitunuulira akugamba kituleetedde obuzibu nti kati temwagala kubaako bye mwenyigiramu bibakulaakulanya. You're thinking of becoming the group president of Jambogo. You're thinking of becoming the group president of
Which is
But we are not there for life. I will still go back to her point.
And remember, she's speaking.
You're not there for life.
As a speaker of a full university. She was a guilty speaker.
I'm going back to her
If she
point.
had not taken up that position,
No,
All I'm trying to say,
but
not every
let me
student
go
at my
back to
university
her
can be
point.
speaker. While I am advocating, I must encourage the others to take up the other spaces.
But
Not all of them can be leaders.
let me make this clear.
But I'll not
When
sit
we
down
come-
and tell them to become.
When we come to these positions, it is because we feel there is a need. And that is the need to serve. If all of us cannot become, let the one person that has become be a servant to others.
Okay, that's why I asked. How have you? Let me. How have you
We
become
know
a
an era where
servant
we want to be
of the rest?
practical. You're
That's
even
my question.
questioning.
No,
How
listen,
have you people
listen.
become
Education
servants
system
of
that
the
is
rest?
You
Now,
see,
When you
Mr.
thought-
Moderator,
this is-
Kasoka tuleku
Mr. I'm going to first go back to her point.
Mm.
She's telling us how the youth should go and dig. Now, I know of a man.
Is it bad to dig?
To dig? It is not bad.
it is not
but
bad to
then-
dig, but we have seen
after
people
digging,
that have left their animals, they have come
first way-
and
Okay.
become president.
Let's go slowly.
But they have animals
question
as
Use
well.
and
Let's-
lose power.
let's
Yes.
put
No,
some
some
speed
people-
governors
some
here.
people-
What happens
better.
You were a
is-
guilty speaker.
What
my dear.
happens?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
when you go and dig,
Did you leave?
yes.
You left farming, you came for guilty speaker. You
So,
think we don't know?
Mr. Moderator,
Yes.
I'm
when I
Let's
go,
listen from
when I
Edwin.
go to dig, yes, of course digging is not bad. You're going to produce food that we need.
Yeah, we all agree.
But
Digging
like I was
is not
saying,
bad.
I know of a man who has married more than 10 wives, but this is what happens, and it is similar to what happens
In
with
the
this
eastern
government.
region.
Yes. So what he does,
What emphasize that?
what he does, this is what he does. It is like what the government does. So he marries. After marrying, at the beginning of the season, he makes sure you dig the wife. He makes sure the wife is further in the garden. You dig. And now at the time of harvesting, now this is what he does. He says, he actually takes you back to your home, takes the wife back to the home, tells you first go back home. We need to arrange and come and talk to the parents and at least maybe organize maybe introduction. So as the wife goes, after like 1 week, he gets everything of the wife, gives a boda guy to take to the wife. So when the boda guy brings everything for the wife will call and the guy will say, no, ours ended. It's meaning the marriage ended. Because it is harvesting time, he goes now and harvests everything, sells and gets the money. Now that is our government. The government will tell you to go and do farming. You will go now like in Busoga sub-region. By the way, I come from Namayengo. It is in Busoga sub-region. So you will go and do the farming, plant your sugar canes. At the time of harvesting,
The prices go.
they
go
lower
down.
the prices of the sugar cane. And you will not eat those sugar
Right
canes.
there, right
Now,
there.
now,
Mr.
now.
What is the way forward on that issue?
Mr. Robert.
If we know that digging is not bad, okay? And we've got, youths who say, okay, let's go into digging, okay? But now the government comes in and is not supportive at that critical stage where it's supposed to. So how can we deal with that situation?
Now you see, it is easy to lead the poor people, and that is what the government has done. Even when they start shouting for us, PDM, how many people are benefiting? Okay, if I go to that man and went to plant sugar canes, and at the end of the day you're lowering the prices. You see, this government has mastered one thing. It is easy to lead illiterates. It is easy to lead poor people. Even when you say they established UPE, do you know why they established UPE? Different people have different opinions. But if they had not established UPE, the parents would have a mindset that I have to get money to take my child to school. And of course, they'll be taking them to private schools where they would be paying money. And the students would be studying properly. Well, now, you come, you establish UPE, and tell people, mwena musome. So when they all come, you make sure that the conditions there are not favorable to support them, to make sure that they study. We have more school dropouts in UPE and USE than in private schools. Because if all these people study, they become educated, they are not easy to lead. So let's put there a system. We put them in UPE, USE, put harsh conditions so that they don't study. And when they don't study, they drop out, they stay as illiterates. It is easy to lead the illiterates. It is easy to lead the
Mr. Moderator.
So when you finish, Mary will close us.
Yeah.
Will close us.
Well, okay.
I will close you out.
Yeah,
Like it or not.
she's the first and the end.
The last, the alpha.
The Moderator, I'm worried because of the shot you are putting on.
So this is for the.
I don't know, we proceed.
You want to? Okay. This can I also clarify?
No, he's not a moderator. He's not a moderator.
Well, Mr. Moderator, when we are
that was a joke. This represents Uganda. Please, Mr. Producer, this is Uganda. You could see all our colors except the crescent crane.
But
there is yellow, there is red, there is black.
Why is the priority given to yellow? And if it is
the next episode, I'll be in another
Uganda we want.
If it is
should be able to welcome people that are putting on yellow. Yeah, we welcome in different ideologies. You see, I'm imagining a country where we all looked the same. Just imagine we are all thinking like President Museveni. Like that's a very boring country. Yeah. Even if we are only thinking like nobody, it would be very boring.
Even if
we need different ideologies. Just imagine we are living in a country where we only have one type of tree. Ngabuli wosango sanga musambia. That's a very boring country. So we need different ideologies. And how you understand whether you are right or wrong? How you differentiate that onokasori galimenvu is with the difference of how they look like. We can only know the truth when we have different ideologies. But this is what I'm saying. That we need to get to a standard where people that are NRM are not character assassinated. We also understand where they pick the ideology from. And that's the only comparison we have. That me, when I look at FDC, when I look at NRM, when I look at ANT, when I look at NUP, when you look at all these ideologies, you look at which ideology would favor this country or that would fit into what you believe in. And that's where you lead. So me, what I'm looking at is only one. Nti, tetugezako kugamba bantu botalima. Mutufune bulungi. Tetugezako bantu kugamba bantu baleme do fishing. That is, fishing is... bachira batya mu Luganda okuvuba. Tetugezako kugaana abantu kuvuba. Tetugezako kugaana abantu kwenyigira mu bintu ebyo. Nekye tugamba kino. We have countries that have made it easy for their citizens to carry out the economic activities in the country. Abavubuka bolaba basobola okulima. Abavubuka bolaba bavuga boda sirwa kuba nti gwe mulimu ogukyasinze, yes, but because of the situation that they are in. Abavubuka abo bolaba bagenda ne beeyunga mu kuvuba, not because it is the best job, but what we are saying is gwe bwogenda ku mwalo ng'oteekawo amateeka, let these laws be demonstrably justifiable eri abantu bano abali ku mwalo. Gweoba oteekawo amateeka g'ebyobulimi, the tea, the coffee, teekawo amateeka ng'omuntu singa akeera ku makya awulira eri essanyu. Fedda bwe twalinga tusoma UPE nga mutuuka kusomera omusomesa n'abawaka sweet.
UPE wamwe?
Omusomesa awola batuwanga ne sweet. Nga tukana kwaka sweet n'osoma ng'owulira eri essanyu. That is all we call for the government. We can evolve into these activities because these activities economically develop the country.
Okay.
Singa tubeera ku mwalo nga waliwo abavuba, that is what makes Uganda. But country eteekewo amateeka. Kati Uganda abantu b'ekatosi babagana okozesa net, buneti okuvuba ebyennyanja ebitini. Yes? But we know neti z'okusulamu za layisi okusinga neti ezivuba ebyennyanja ebiki ebinene. So when the government realizes that, then make it possible and smooth abantu okusobola okwaffordinga net government zokola ki zoyagala obutasobola kuvuba buli bwennyanja buto. I believe abavubuka tebannagana kweyunga mu bintu bino. Naye amateeka agabiriko gatuleetera okugenda mu mirimu egy'enjawulo nga mwogase aga gali illegal in nature. Gonza bamalaaya be basinga okwagala okukola obw'abamalaaya. Toli musanga. But because of the situation that has been put, and that also bases on our family backgrounds.
Okay.
Nti oli bwanyigirizibwa ennyo abamu beetuga. Onaga sijja kwetuga kangende mbw'abamalaaya. Onaga sijja genda mbw'abamalaaya kangende nvube. Naye ng'amateeka agaliyo gabanyigiriza ako ke tuyita okukyusa. Abavubuka tebannagaanako kukola. Njagala n'okutegeeza gavumenti eno nti lwaki obiza ebigambo byange lwaki obisembyayo ebigambo byange. Njagala okutegeeza gavumenti eno nti abavubuka tebannagaanako kukola. Naye amateeka mwe bakolera si malungi kimala kubasikiriza kukola ki?
Kukola.
Abamu balwana ne bakola. But if you can lay better grounds, abavubuka banokola, abavubuka bajja kola, abavubuka sibayaaye nga bwe balowooza, and they have chosen to take up this national unity platform because they feel gy'eddoboozi lyabwe.
Some.
And we also respect
The
people that
percentage.
Some youths.
The highest percentage.
Wafula.
Please,
That is the truth.
let us be realistic.
Okay, how many youth are here? How many youth are here? From the ones who are here, we can find.
Give me your final remarks now, since you've said that.
Okay, we are two in here.
But I'm saying how many youths are here?
The Nimze Iwakazi.
How many youth are here? But
your final remarks, and then I
what you
go to
have-
Mary.
now that this government has failed, it has failed. We should
In what? In everything? Is it what you're trying to say?
In everything.
Let him wrap up.
Just like my brother was saying that you cannot have the same one brain thinking for the whole country for over years. You see, when these people took government, whatever, got power, you know where I belong. When they got power, but you don't have it here. When they got power, at that time, maybe there's something they did. But we cannot have one person think for this country for over 40 years. I don't think the way you think. So if you gave me 5 years, maybe today, to lead this country, and after 5 years I go, you come, there are things I'm going to do, and when you come, you'll do better things. But when I stay there, I'll continuously look at things the way I found them. Now, the way the current president saw things in 1986, he wants to see them the same way today.
We
And that is why our country is where it is.
Honorable, we reached an extent where we are like, it is okay to have NRM, but let us now have at least Mama Babas.
But at
We needed, and what we need, we are not saying NRM, But we need an alternative for this country. For the last 40 years, you see, 2 terms are not enough for a president to execute to the best. But they are very big to have an incompetent person. You see, we cannot afford to have really 40 years. We can have, okay, let them come, but we need an alternative. We believe for the last 40 years, we have seen something. If she can take up power and she's from NRA, some of us are going to be okay. But we have an alternative, like 40 years.
And now, what has happened in the current government is that when these people take position, they think these positions, it is occupation. They literally come to make money. And that's why they are not doing what would benefit this country. And at the end of it all, we the youths are being affected most. And I think if you're a youth and you still believe NRM can take us anywhere, then you're walking dead.
That's according to you.
According to the highest percentage of the youth.
Not according to you.
I'm part of that highest percentage.
Well, I'm seeing you. I'm not seeing that percentage. I'm seeing you.
And is
it according to you?
I'm representing most of those youths. Okay, one day you call them, or you call all the youths here. You call them here, and you'll find out. Even if you want
your
to
final
find
remarks, Mary, and we
find that the highest
we sign out
here.
of here.
Well, I thank my brothers. They're really interesting. But what I want to let everyone know is that the government has not failed yet. Being a generation that understands better that we are in an ICT era, that understands the importance of socioeconomic transformation, really we would be the ones actually guiding them. But this takes a youth that is employable, a youth that can adjust. When an opportunity presents itself, how do you react? If they give you an opportunity, my colleagues have been given opportunities to give a solution, okay, then what can we do? And then you choose to continue wailing and lamenting about the failures. Then we are not going ahead.
Opportunities
I want
in this
a
government
Uganda,
are ringy faced.
I want a Uganda with a youth that is more objective. If we say that things have gone wrong and we say we want solutions, can we come up with these solutions? Being a generation that you think is younger and more understanding than the one you're blaming, the Mzei's generation. Yes, we understand they are old. There are things they may not, but if you don't come with these practical skills
I like
to
the
show
way
them.
she doesn't complete her statements. Whenever she wants to say something
if you
important.
come and you're just lamenting about failures, and you're also not using the ICT now that you have acquired in this generation, where you all have smartphones and you're always, it's even absurd. I don't want to see a generation that is watching pornography on phones, yet you can come up with apps to help. We want to better our health system. Yes, right now, the fund allocation may not be enough. We are still a low and middle income country and we cannot run away from that. That is why I'm saying, what are we doing to economically develop ourselves individually? Well, if the population is made up of individuals that are economically empowered, we will not have these lamentations, irrespective of who is in power.
Okay.
And so let us join the government in helping better these systems as the young people who have acquired the ICT knowledge.
The us, you mean, or everyone?
This generation is equipped in ICT.
You must be joking. She's talking about bettering the health system.
Those that are not.
Yet the government has refused to deploy internees.
So what I'm saying is we need to better our health system, our education system. We need to better our infrastructure and all those, but it will take our generation.
Okay.
Let us be more adjustable and employable when opportunities come. Can we be objective and accept them irrespective of who is giving them to you? Let us not be a group of people that just laments about.
I like the way she has concluded. We need to better, we need to better, we need to better.
All of you.
they've failed.
So they are calling upon you.
Yeah, now we need to bet.
Mind
Well,
you,
I want,
NRM has so many youth.
We need
I
to
want-
It's absurd our time is not enough.
I want to
explain
thank you,
about the cutting of the budget.
His Excellency Maseruka Robert from Makerere University, the Guild President of Makerere University, for appearing to our University Guild President's Dialogue on the Uganda We Want. Thank you so much for sparing time to come and share with us your views on the kind of Uganda that you envision. And as well, Guild President of Kyambogo University, His Excellency Wafula Edwin Koholo. Thank you so much for sparing time to come and share with us your views on the kind of Uganda that you envision. And as well, I think she has played very well her role as a Guild Speaker. She has managed the two giants in the building. So
that's your opinion.
That's so true. It is not even just a fact.
well, probably I might be sharing my perspective on the program. So that's okay as well. Well, Right Honorable Nadong Mary Blessing, 6th Guild Speaker of Victoria University, Kampala. So this has been our first episode of the University Guild Presence Dialogue on the Uganda We Want. Well, you've heard it. What are you going to do to ensure that you achieve the kind of Uganda that we envision? For now, we sign out. Bye-bye.